Hey guys, what's going on? It's MangaReads, and what we'll be doing today is a very point blank shit on video. And what does that mean? It means that we're shitting on the fanboys today, and we are going to definitively prove that Kaido, Yonko Kaido, Hyakuju Kaido, Kaido of the Beast is not the strongest Yonko. Now guys, let's get into it. First off, let's explain who Kaido is. I won't be talking about his feats just yet, and we'll talk about the competition. My competition here today is Red Hair Shanks, and I will say why I think Shanks is the strongest. Now, first off, Kaido is, Thousand Beast Kaido, the man of the hour, strongest creature alive, and all of these things. But what we're not looking at is the way that Kaido was introduced as a character. Now, let's follow One Piece logic. For any theory to make sense, it has to follow the logic of the anime or the manga or whatever field it falls under. So let's follow the logic of One Piece. Ever since we met Don Krieg, that little man from East Blue, 30 million bear I thought it was, or 10 or whatever. That man that was plaguing the Bharati when we met Sanjay, him. Back when we met him, he sounded like the baddest thing ever made. He sounded like the son of the devil. The way they spoke about him being a demon and everything, it sounded like the best, the strongest you've ever seen, and there's nothing above him. He seemed like the OP guy back then. And what happened? Luffy kicked his ass. Now let's take a look at Monkey D. Luffy, for example. When we see Luffy compared to other characters, and I think this is very important, the way that Oda has designed Luffy is very much a way of saying that the biggest guy isn't always the strongest. Luffy looks very simple. Even compared to Ace and Sabo, his body mass is not that much. He seems really skinny, he seems really lanky, and just looking at him from a distance, he seems pretty weak and frail. Doesn't seem like the type of guy that can, raise all hell if you want it. Doesn't seem very strong, but when he starts to fight, you realize he's much more than skin and bones. He's got a lot of beef back in there. He's got a lot of muscle. Now, why is this important? Let's go on and take a look at Sir Crocodile. When we met Sir Crocodile, he seemed to be the baddest thing ever yet. Again, I'm telling you guys, all you have to do is go on YouTube, type it in, and you'll see the introductions of these characters, the way they spoke about him. They're always the strongest ever. And I jump straight forward and I get to Whitebeard. When we were in Impel Down and we heard about Ace's execution, and we know that Whitebeard was coming, we knew he was going to save his son. And the way they spoke of Whitebeard, he seemed to be the strongest in history. And back then they said he was the strongest pirate on the sea, right? They clearly said that Whitebeard is the strongest pirate on the sea, and we've angered the king of the sea. He wasn't the pirate king, but he was top dog back then. Now, in Whitebeard's heyday, in his prime days, he would have only been bested by Garp and Gold Roger. That's my take on things. Given the information we've had, this is not speculation. They did say Roger was a step further, and we know that Garp fought with Roger toe-to-toe, equal grounds all the time. So it's fair to say that Garp was also stronger than Whitebeard. Now, at the Marineford arc, or where the Marineford War took place, I'm going to say it right now, Whitebeard was not the strongest pirate. And I won't be debating this, I'll just put the proof right here for you. There was one episode when Squardo stabbed Whitebeard, and Whitebeard was, ailing, and instead of killing Squardo, he hugged him and forgave him. And Crocodile got mad pissed at Whitebeard. Crocodile was like, nigga. Because Crocodile wanted to kill Whitebeard, and Crocodile is saying that it's embarrassing for him, Crocodile, to want to kill Whitebeard and not being able to do it. Yet still, Whitebeard allowed one of his crewmates, Squardo, to hit him so cheaply. And Whitebeard was saying that, maybe there was a time when I was the strongest, but that's not the case right now. You can't remain the strongest forever, and someone will have to take over your spot. And in Whitebeard's head, he was waiting for Ace to grow and fill his boots as Yonko and become Pirate King and whatnot. That's what we've heard among the Whitebeard pirates. So why is this important? It's important that we look at the way characters are introduced. Whenever characters are introduced, we exaggerate on their feats and who they are and what they've done, so that we can build tension and make it seem as if the Straw Hats are up against it. Mind you, I'm not saying that Kaido is not the shit. I'm telling you, Kaido is the shit. I'm thinking this man can take on the entire naval fleet by himself and get a pretty decent job done. Like 2 or 3 admirals and they can't breathe, because I think he's that OP. Now, let's take a look at Kaido's introduction. This will be important going forward. They said that he had been defeated 7 times as a pirate. I don't know of Whitebeard being defeated. I don't know of Roger being defeated. Okay, he was defeated 7 times. So that means that there is at least one person who beat Kaido 7 times. I'm going to think that Whitebeard is one of them. And if Whitebeard is one of them, I'm also adding Gold Roger to that list. You know, given that Kaido seems to be around for a while, and he must have also been involved in the Throne Wars before Roger became Pirate King and stuff like that. So we know at least Whitebeard and Roger defeated Kaido back in the past, and he lost 7 times. He was captured by the Navy or his enemies 18 times. People, Kaido does not seem like the type of person that wants to take advice from just anybody, and cocky, arrogant guys who are sure of their strength most certainly won't go into battle, let their guards down, and get captured, tortured. We know we can make the argument that he wants to die, so he might have been reckless, but fuck that. He's not the type of guy that would go and willingly lose a fight. You know, his pride is on the line. He seems like a man of pride. We can assume that much. So he was captured 18 times. That's another dent to his throne right there. He underwent torture repeatedly and has been living as a criminal. Who hasn't? Pirates. Pish. He wanted to kill himself by jumping off Sky Island. I think the reason why he keeps surviving all these, things that were supposed to kill him, because they also say that he was sentenced to death 40 times, is haki. His haki is on that level where he doesn't have to activate it. His haki is always active, right? May not be the strongest defense, because when you activate a haki to a certain level, the skin get blacker or whatever. Yeah, I'm talking that. I'm saying just like Big Mom, who is also described as being a big balloon, spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm saying the haki is the reason why he hasn't been killed. There isn't anyone out there that has tried killing him that has haki strong enough to do that. Let's go on. He challenged the Navy and 4 emperors single-handedly. And I'm guessing he lost that. Given that he has been defeated 7 times as a pirate, I'm gonna guess that he also lost those. And then it just says that if it's one-on-one, Kaido will win. People say, that's what people say now. And they also say that on land, sea, and air, he is a pirate known as the strongest creature. Strongest creature among all living things. Not the strongest person, strongest creature. We can make the argument that people fall under creature, but no. There are 2 different kingdoms in the biological world. So no, he might be the strongest Zoan, but he's not the strongest person. Kaido doesn't look to be human 100% either. We've seen many different races in One Piece, long arm, long leg, and stuff like that. Kaido doesn't seem to be of normal human descent. He seems to be some sort of animal, some sort of beast. So even if he is the strongest creature, he's not the strongest human. Now, why do I think that Shanks is stronger than Kaido? Right, let's take a look at Shanks. From the very onset that you see Shanks, you can see Luffy in Shanks. Point blank. Shanks doesn't seem to be the biggest guy you'll ever see. I mean, compared to Whitebeard and compared to Kaido, compared to Big Mom, who are also the people on his level, known as the Yonko of the Sea, compared to even Akainu, he doesn't seem to be that muscular, he doesn't seem to be that big, he doesn't seem to be that beefy. Physically appearing, he doesn't seem that big. Comparisons with Luffy. Now, the argument can be made that Shanks is the trainee or the pupil of the former Pirate King Gold Roger, given that he has the hat and the way he speaks to really about the Pirate King, and by Pirate King I mean Gold Roger, and the way he speaks about Luffy imitating the boss, the captain, saying the same things that the boss said. the way he spoke to Rayleigh about that, we can assume that he had a very tight relationship with Gold Roger, and Gold Roger may have trained him to become the pirate he is today. Now, to this day, and we've seen the introduction of Kaido, and this is the biggest thing, people. To this day, I am yet to see someone that looks as skinny as Shanks, or even as big as Kaido, step on a ship and have that ship scream. Do you remember when Shanks met Whitebeard in the New World back in chapter, I think it was episode 197 or 198. That was like one of my favorite episodes throughout the entire series, even now. When Whitebeard and Shanks met in the New World and Shanks stepped on Whitebeard's ship, the very first foot he set on that ship, you could see the stairs splitting, you hear the ship creaking. That bitch was crying for mercy. The more, he wasn't even exerting himself that much, because then you would have seen it. The ship was creaking, and look at the size of that ship. When he and Whitebeard's swords clashed, the heavens parted. And I'm telling you, the fact that he could talk to Kaido and say, I'm not going to say that he fought Kaido, but the fact that he could talk to Kaido and say, my man, don't try to kill Whitebeard, don't try to start a war now. That's the very thing that Kaido lives for. Kaido wants to kill Whitebeard, and he died. Kaido wants to start a war. Luffy's gonna fuck that up. I'm telling you guys, if there is a fight, 1 versus 1, Kaido and Shanks were to lose, it would take the biggest ass pull in the history of One Piece for that to happen. And the evidence is there. Some of you might not agree with the evidence, given that, you know, there's still much more space left in the One Piece verse for us to actually fill in some gaps here and there, for us to have some character development, for us to learn a bit more about each character. And fairly said, we haven't seen much from Shanks. I mean, he only stepped into the biggest war of history and said, peace be still, and that shit was still. And I mean, he never did much. He's only aspiring to be the guardian of the future Pirate King. He only made it to Raftel with Gold Roger, and I'm sure that's debatable as well. You know, I'm not saying he's special. He's nothing special. He's just another pirate. Look at his crew. Do you know anybody who can rule the fucking New World with 15 members? He doesn't have 15 members. He has less than 15 members in his crew. And that's counting Rockstar. This man stepped into the biggest war the world has ever seen and say, bitch, shut up, it's done. And bitch, shut up, and it was done. We're talking people like Garp, Sengoku, all 3 admirals, freaking Akainu, who just wanted to kill. You can't make the argument that there were 2 Yonko crew right there and that's why they ended the war. No, the Whitebeards were defeated, they were fleeing for their lives, and that's why Kobe cried and made his plea that, you know what, please stop, we're spitting on the lives of our soldiers. Now guys, it's been Manga Reads. If you like it, please like. If you dislike it, dislike also. Comment your thoughts. You can agree, disagree, or be indifferent. But until we get to Wano and we see a bit more, then this is my take. Shanks greater than Kaido. Peace. Have a nice day.